Hey guys, it's Natasha and welcome back to this week's video. Today I'll be talking about the 12 books that I aim to finish by the end of this year. Or read all the damn books on your bookshelf before you start buying other books. So naturally, because it's the last 2 months of I said December, because that makes sense. Because it's the last 2 months of the year, I'm not going to put out a TBR for November and December. These are essentially the books that I plan to read by the end of the year. If I don't succeed, there's always next year, you know. But I'm sure I'll be able to do it. Before we get started, please remember to like, subscribe, comment down below if you're excited for Christmas. I don't know, if you're excited for November, if you're just excited for the end of the year, because I have the end of the year feel and I'm ready to go on leave, but unfortunately I'm essential service and I can't go on leave. Grab your cup of joe, grab your cup of tea, grab your cup of, I don't know, whiskey, whichever you prefer, and let's get this video started. The first two books is Living with the Dead as well as Frostbitten, that is very shiny, by Kelly Armstrong. Living with the Dead is another story about Hope Adams, and I recently just finished Personal Demon and I really love that book. It might top Bitten. It's another Hope Adams book where she investigates her friend's possible involvement in her parents' murder, I think. Her boss, sorry, it's not that dark. Her boss's murder. Okay. And Hope, being a chaos demon, she thrives on chaos, she enjoys this, so this is naturally the best job for her because she's a small-time journalist and she seeks, you know, these supernatural kind of stories. This is right up her alley and she's determined to prove her best friend is innocent. And of course with Frostbitten, we are back with Elena Michaels and she is struggling with the question of should I become alpha or should I not, because January is about to step down. But on top of that, she is tasked to investigate a series of murder in Entourage. I might be pronouncing that wrong and I am so sorry, but the truth is far darker than it seems, and she discovers a whole new set of things that she was not expecting. So she's fighting murderous people as well as the decision, should she become alpha or should she not be, you know, because she's the only female werewolf there is, and a female werewolf as the alpha is questionable on its own. Then of course the next two books is Allegiant and 4 by Veronica Roth. I'm dying to finish these books because although I enjoyed Divergent, I didn't really enjoy Insurgent. It was meh for me. I might have enjoyed it when I was younger, but now no. So I don't know why I'm continuing with these books, honestly. The only thing I want to actually know is how does this book end? Because I see a lot of people are really upset with the way this book ends. And of course, being a series collector, I had to take this one as well. So it's just a novella about 4 in the Divergent series and how he became 4, or how he is and why he is 4. Something like that. But Divergent is just basically a dystopian novel about this girl who is very talented and everyone wants to kill her. The next book is a series I've been sitting on for so long that I'm scared I'm going to forget everything. It's the middle grade and the last book to the Ink Heart series, and it's Ink Death. But essentially this is just about an 11-year-old girl who has the magic powers to read words to life. She is the same as her father because in Ink Heart her father read her mother into a book and the bad guys out of a book. So you know, it's just chaotic on its own. It's a really fantastical book. It is full of magic, full of funny characters. It's just a chunker. All of them are. But what's nice about it is there's, if I can find it, there's illustrations in it. It's a very nice and whimsical, a middle grade book or series, and I'm really dying to finish this. Then the next book is Unravel Me by Tahira Murphy. This is the second book in the Shatter Me series, and in this whole series we follow Juliet, and she is I'm assuming she's a destroyer because everything she touches dies, and the resistance wants her to take over the world because, you know, they have to. It's also a dystopian novel. I've heard great things about the series, but also my colleague also said the last 3 books are very boring, so I just want to read this book by the end of the year. I can continue the series next year. I want to know what's happening between the 3 characters.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
The next book is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I have heard great things about the story. I just don't really know what it is about. So this is one of the cases where I bought the book because it was, and it is still famous on TikTok. From what I can gather is this girl is like, you know, she raids stuff and they go through the Shadowland. I'm assuming, and then a group of monsters erupts and she lets out dormant magic, or that she didn't even know she has. And I'm assuming this is just an adventure full of magic, full of crazy things happening, and I'm dying to know more about this book. I've heard great things about the first book, I've heard semi-great things about the second book, and then I've heard not so great things about the third book. I was smart in this regard to only buy the first book. Then the next book is The Demon King by Cinda Williams-Chima.
Potato, potato.
But this is a whole big fantasy series where this young boy relies on his skills to feed his mother and his sister, up until the point where a group of wizards come and they kind of burn his house down along with his mother and his sister. And he and his friend go on a revenge-seeking adventure. And it turns out that he meets a whole array of people, including the princess of their realm. And they discover secrets that are unfolding, dark magic, the whole shebang. You know, a good fantasy story of which I started and never finished. So I'm starting from the beginning again. The next book is The Host by Stephanie Meyer, and another dystopian novel I want to reread because it was such an amazing book. I read it in 2010 and that is the last time I remember reading this. And I want to delve back into it and see, have my thoughts changed about the enjoyment of this book. If I had Goodreads back in 2010, I would have solidly given this a 5-star. But I want to revisit it and see how I feel about it. But essentially, this is just about a book where peaceful aliens, believe it or not, take over Earth and they infiltrate the mind of the human so that they can be more peaceful, look after the planet how we should be, but we aren't. What usually happens when the aliens take over is the alien has a conscience and Melanie, who's the human, is just gone. But unfortunately and fortunately for Melanie, she's constantly fighting this host that she has. And the host, who's called Wanderer, is trying to build Melanie's trust. And this leads to a whole messy love triangle and a very, I don't know if I would say a good ending, but it was spectacular 12 years ago. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to picking this up. I'm not going to discuss this book for long because if you have been here on this channel for a while, you know I've been ranting and raving about reading this book since last year. But it is the Inheritance series by Christopher Paolini. I recently read his To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, and I realized that I actually want to finish the series. I also found the audiobook, which I believe will push me into finishing the series, because I got to Eldest, the third book in the series, and I just could not stand his cousin. This is just essentially about a boy who discovers a dragon egg and he builds like a relationship with this dragon eventually. It's a blue dragon, her name is called Seraphina, and they then have to fight the Dark King who wants to have dragons all for himself. It's a big fantasy world, it's messy and it's amazing, and I'm really looking forward to picking this up again. The next book is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I've never read this book, never seen the show, so please don't come for me. But what I know is this is a book about a virtual reality where you can go into this virtual reality and live your best life. Until the point where the creator of this virtual reality, I think he dies, and his last words to the players are, if you can figure out this mystery or find something, you will be the next owner of this life simulation. And what happens is the main character in this book, he's rushing to find it, but there's also other people rushing to find this clue. It's apparently a very amazing read, will get you also out of a reading slump. So, and then the last book, I just thought, let me just throw in a classic, as I'm slowly diving into classics. I'm busy with Frankenstein now, but it is The Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux, or Gaston Leroux.
Okay.
It is about an opera house that is essentially haunted, and a new person rocking up and investigating, you know, the horrors of this whole thing, and discovering that the Phantom of the Opera is actually not as bad as everyone thinks, and it's not haunted. It's just a guy being lonely, I'm assuming. I might be wrong though. But those are all the books that I plan to read by the end of this year. If you guys have read any of these books, please comment down below what you thought about them, but please don't give any spoilers, and I'll see you guys in a video next week. Bye!